Good evening, you're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. Is the wrestlers' protest buckling under power, or are they basically imploding from within? Well, lots of conspiracy theories are at play. Number one, which very much could be possible and a reality, that the minor in question has taken back her statement. What would that mean, viewers? That would technically mean that the case against Brij Bhushan Singh, who's a Pocso accused, will close. I want to cut across to our guests right now. We're going to break it down. I have Jagmati Sangwan, activist; Yashovardhan Azad, former IPS; Deshratan Nigam, lawyer and political analyst; Kailash Vasudev, senior advocate, Supreme Court. I want to go to Mr. Vasudev first. Mr. Vasudev, I want to ask you a question, because understandably there is a distinction between Pocso courts and the courts which hear the other cases. Having said that, if this minor has gone ahead and taken back her statement, will the Pocso case against Brij Bhushan Singh now close?
Good evening. I want to go one step further. You see, can a minor retract the statement? Having had recorded a statement under 164 of the Criminal Procedure Code, and having had a special status under the Pocso Act, can you retract the statement? Is my first question. Assuming she has chosen to do so, being a minor girl, the matter of investigation has to continue because the matter is serious. You are permitting a minor to retract the statement. Now you cannot say with or without consent as a matter of investigation. It's a complaint under Section 10 of the Pocso. How do you permit a minor to retract the statement? Now we go one step further. Assuming that the statement of the minor has been retracted, nothing stops the police from investigating into the matter, because it's a special act for a special purpose. Permitting such things to happen will water down the functioning of the courts, of the justice system under the Pocso. These are very serious matters. For a minor to retract, I'm not aware of the law.
Stay on with us. I want to also get in Deshratan Nigam. He's also a lawyer and a political analyst. Mr. Ratan, Nigam, the fact is, we have a lawyer from the Supreme Court, Mr. Kailash Vasudev, who says very clearly, even if the case has been retracted by the minor, then the Delhi police would possibly still need to investigate the case, looking at the circumstances it's happened in.
Yes, retraction is certainly something which the law provides, but under the Pocso it is not there, although in certain other acts I have seen that retraction at the first instance, not after the delay. And certainly, in this particular case, there are very serious allegations and the matter needs to be investigated. Now, the retraction cannot be permitted by the police. It is not within the domain of the police. It is only the courts can do it, or they have to file after investigation the closure report, which is to be there. So ultimately the matter has to be taken forward by the police in this particular matter, whether this way or that way, that has to be seen. But here the ultimate issue lies whether the person needs to be arrested or not arrested, because the entire insistence by the wrestlers is that this man should be arrested. But under the law, under Section 10, or even if you look at the FIR, in the other sections which come into play, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, the maximum sentence is up to 7 years. And Arnesh Kumar is quite clear that a person cannot be arrested. He can only be arrested if notice of appearance is given and he does not cooperate. That stage probably, I am not aware at what stage the investigation is, whether notice has been issued or not. I am sure it must have been. So ultimately, one has to go by the law, and matter needs to be investigated. The police can at best give a closure report to the court, not anywhere else, or the FIR needs to be, quashed by the High Court. That's the only possible way that are available to the police right now, or to the concerned persons.
Okay, which is interesting, because both our lawyers are concurring on that point of view, and I want to bring in Yashovardhan Azad into this conversation. Mr. Azad, the sheer fact that it's a long protracted protest, 2 months have gone down, you're fighting against a powerful system, representing a man who's a sitting MP, the kind of clout he has, leaves little to the imagination. All of that aside, the question is, if this minor has taken back her statement, if she's retracted her statement in front of a magistrate and lodged a new statement under Section 164, does that mean that the Delhi police can shut Pocso
No, I think under the circumstances this has been done. Mind you, I had been speaking on various channels of the same important thing. The more you delay the case, the more it goes in favor of the defense. And therefore, in cases like Pocso or allegations made by women, it should be the investigation should be very, very swift so that they remain consistent with their original statement. The trial is done by a special court and quickly the judgment is given. In this case, for whatever reasons I have said, the investigation was frozen in time. And therefore, it was a matter of time. Mind you, there was another thing which was floated in the media that the minor is a major in this case. So this kind of a natural pressure was being built. I think the Delhi police has to investigate under what conditions this retraction has been done. And if it feels that it is under coercion, then it might as well file the charge sheet and let the court decide. And in court,
right.
she will be asked why she
Mr. Azad,
retracted.
stay with me, because there's a narrative now that is being peddled, which seems to suggest that the Pocso case will now close because it seems the minor in question has retracted her statement and a new statement has been lodged. I want to cut across to Jagmati Sangwan, who's joining me. Jagmati comes from Rohtak. She's the one who's been tracking the protest by the wrestlers. She's been squatting with them at Jantar Mantar. She was thrown out, arrested on the 28th of May as well. Jagmati Sangwan, जो ये माइनर है, this minor has retracted her statement, ऐसा सुनने में आया है. Has she retracted the statement or not, Miss Sangwan? अभी तक retract किया है कि नहीं, sir?
I do not know exactly what is happening at the level of court in Delhi, but at the same time, I want to say on record that if they have retracted also, then also it's not natural course of justice. They have been forced to do so, and the state and its agencies were with Brij Bhushan to do this all. And the family, they are the residents of my city. They were.
मैम ये बताइएगा मत, क्योंकि लड़की माइनर है तो हम उनकी जगह या पहचान नहीं बताना चाह रहे हैं.
Yes, not their personal, but yes, she belongs to Haryana.
नहीं बताइए मैम ये नहीं बताइएगा.
Okay, she was being targeted. The family was being targeted, and her Tau hold a press conference also under the pressure. And now, as Yasho has said, the circumstances should be considered. Under which circumstances it has happened. When the Pocso was imposed on Brij Bhushan at the initial stage, he should have been arrested at the same time, and if it had been done, the picture would have been completely different. Thousands of girls would have come forward to speak out about what they have been suffering since long time.
Miss Sangwan, you're in touch with all the wrestlers. What is their next plan? Are they going to sit in protest? क्योंकि एक narrative है जो अब बैठ गया है कि wrestlers थक गए हैं, उन्होंने protest छोड़ दिया है, उन्होंने अपनी नौकरियां वापस join कर ली हैं.
No, this is not fact. Yes, when the movement is going on, the form of agitation, resistance and movement, they keep changing according to the suitability of the fighters, and they are also thinking on the strategy in the given context. And all the social organizations, women organizations, Kisan and labor organizations, those who are supporting the movement, they all are standing with them shoulder to shoulder, and the fight will go on.
All right, just Mr. Vasudev, coming back now, because there are so many things which were handled completely contrarian to how maybe a case under Pocso or sexual molestation should be handled. But what next now? Because what will happen is at the back there is already a narrative, which is being played too, suggesting that the complainants were compromised. The minor has taken back her complaint one by one. The others will also. What do you think legally can play out now?
What has to now legally play out is, please see the narrative. These people have brought laurels to the country. They have won medals. They're Olympians. They've done everything for the benefit of the country without looking at anything for themselves. They come from very humble backgrounds. and their dedication to the national flag has been the most. They have brought back laurels. The accused in this case has not brought any laurels, not to the nation or to himself. This is a very important facet. You are dealing with a group of youngsters who have strived in the national interest for the nation and for the purposes of getting India a position in the world map. The Pocso Act was enacted in 2012 and amended in 2019 to bring in severe and serious amendments for the purposes of making the punishment stringent. In this case, the FIR was lodged at the instance of the Supreme Court in the end of April, 24th and 25th of April of this year. It includes charges under the Pocso, it includes charges under the IPC. Once the Pocso comes in, it is the duty of the police to initiate proceedings within 24 hours. Nothing has happened. Today, the position is that the girl, a young girl, who says that she was molested, she was harassed, she was intimidated, is not being heard. She's been asked to withdraw her complaint. What can be more depressing to see this happen to a young group of people? That's on the sentimental side. On the legal side, this case has to be investigated and the charges have to be framed. After the charges are framed, the trial will begin. Guilty, not guilty will be decided at that point. Retraction of a statement does not kill a case. That is a little understanding of the law, which I think Mr. Sangwan will also support. Now, that being the situation, this case has to be taken to its logical conclusion. If the gentleman is wrong, he has to be punished. If he is right, then acquittal is available. Unfortunately, under the Pocso, the number of actual acquittals are much more than the conviction. That is because the children, the persons, the complainants who make the statement often back off because of pressure, because of fear, because of intimidation. This seems to be happening here because the child is retracting a statement. It is unimaginable. It is difficult to accept the fact that she has done so in the normal course.
Right.
My view is this has to be investigated. It must be looked into, and this must be put an end to.
Right.
After all,
Right.
in the sports arena, you have a lot of youngsters who come into play.
Right. Mr. Vasu, stay on with me. I just want to bring in Desh Ratan Nigam back into this conversation. Mr. Nigam, you know, do you somewhere down the line at least accept the sheer fact that, you know, these were wrestlers facing off with a man like Brij Bhushan Singh, a powerful MP, completely contradictory to the way things have gone on what they should have been, because this is a man in extreme power. The sheer fact that a protest that has gone on now for 2 months, you know, the wrestlers must be getting weighed down. They must be under a lot of pressure. They must be cracking.
I don't think so, Preeti. The amount of support that they had across the political spectrum, I don't think they'll be cowed down. And the rule of law has to take place.
So name me one. So name me, Mr. Nigam, name me one leader, political leader from the ruling dispensation that has got their back and been their voice.
No, it is not about that. Let the law take its own course. First, they went to the committee. They had objected to the members of the committee. That was taken care of. The minor girl did not appear before the committee. That's a fact. And then they were not satisfied that they went to the Supreme Court. And on their request, the FIR was registered. Now the stand is that he should be arrested. You know, you got to be consistent. Once an FIR has been registered, let the law take its own course. The statement has to be recorded.
Maybe I'm not. Okay, Mr. Nigam, maybe I'm really, you know, I'm not a lawyer. You know, out of the 4 of you here, 3 of you, you know, 2 of you are lawyers. So, but I would reckon, you know, that if a case is filed under Pocso, the due process of law would mean arrest. No, sir?
No. That depends on that depends on the conviction period. If it is 7 years, then up to 7 years, then no arrest, because Arnesh Kumar is very clear. If it is more than 7 years, then only the arrest will take place. Otherwise, Supreme Court has hauled the cops. And in fact, Allahabad High Court sent a person to 14 days judicial custody because they did not follow. The notice of appearance has to be given. That's what the law is.
Was it given? But okay, Mr. Yashovardhan Azad wants to make a counter comment, sir.
You know, in this particular case, I think, yes, definitely a notice would be given. And they can certainly record the reasons for his arrest, because here is a man who's outside the purview of the police so far and has made all kinds of statements which will impact the investigation. One, he called them mantras. Second, he wants to change the Pocso Act. Third, he's talked about 15 rupee medals. In a case like this, there is a very strong justification for arrest. In fact, any other man arraigned under the Pocso Act would have been arrested citing all these reasons of influence. And one thing more, Preeti, I must point out that look at, I'm surprised why the minor did not retract earlier. The first complaint was made in January. It was totally fresh. It should have been straight away filed as an FIR, and then the judicial magistrate's statement should have been taken. It went dragged on till April, until they were doing a preliminary inquiry before lodging an FIR. So obviously they have retracted. It's imperative that it is under pressure. And that's why the reason is that they must investigate and put up the charge sheet in court and let the court find out during the examination whether it was done under, you know, threat, allurement or whatever. And that is a very important thing to be brought here.
Mr. Vasudev, you know, do you concur with Desh Ratan Nigam that in cases of Pocso, one really doesn't have to make an arrest if there is a charge?
See, it's like this. This is a very controversial area of the law, because the Act of 2012 has not been tested very much in court on these. But the provisions of the Act are specific. There are timelines. 24 hours is the period in which action has to be initiated by the police. After initiation of action, it has to be concluded within 6 months. Here, unfortunately, as Mr. Azad mentioned, no FIR from January to April, whatever for. When the FIR is filed, there is no further action taken, at least not to our knowledge. We are now in the month of June. 5-6 weeks have gone. What is the action taken against the accused? Why are we giving so much handle? Just because it's a political presentation, or is it just because there are youngsters involved? Whichever way, the Act is not being followed. Pocso has specific provisions. It has mandatory directions. If those directions are not followed, you are definitely watering down the procedure under the Act, which is not in the interest of either the child or of the children or of the accused. Everybody is being sullied in this situation. And more importantly today, as we heard, God knows how far it is true, that even the International Federation is going to withdraw the recognition of a wrestling federation. We had this problem before. It took a lot of time for the Olympic Federation to come back to recognition. Why are we doing explanation for the sake of one politician?
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
Look at it.
Right. You know, I'm gonna just get all three of you, even though, you know, you have a divergent opinion, and Ms. Sangwan as well. I want to bring in all four of you. First, Mr. You know, Desh Ratan Nigam, the sheer fact, because a lot weighs in on the fact if there is a retraction by the minor of a statement, does Pocso close? As per you, Mr. Nigam, yes or no?
No, not by the police. It's only the court which can do it. Police cannot do it.
Okay. And can that be challenged?
See, if any verdict of the court can be challenged in a higher court.
Mr. Yashovardhan Azad, you're shaking your head, sir. You want to weigh in?
I just want to say that the police has every right to put up the charge sheet investigating why this second statement has it made, to find out if, I mean, they can investigate it due to duress or due to allurement and put up the charge sheet, because finally only High Court is the one which can allow a Pocso case to be withdrawn. So in that case, the police has no option but to, file a charge sheet and put it under to the court.
Mr. Vasudev, do you want to weigh in on that, sir?
No, I agree, because the police have no jurisdiction in this matter. It's for the court to decide.
It's for the court to decide. Understand.
Yes, and one more thing. Under the Pocso, you have a special unit for children within the police. It is their duty to do so. Here, I don't see anything of that sort coming in.
Yes.
It's just a general statement of police. Where is the special unit for children? What are we doing to this act? Why aren't we following it? What is the big deterrent in following statutory provisions? This is disturbing.
Right, sir. Jagmati Sangwan, my final question. What's the next in terms of protest? What from here on?
Yes, from here, the legal fight will go on with more regressive and with more emphatically from all sides. And on the roads also, the agitation will go. There are panchayats being held. And the other organizations are also planning, and in between the
रेसलर्स का क्या कहना है जगमती जी इसके बीच में? क्या रेसलर्स फिर प्रोटेस्ट करेंगे अभी?
हाँ, रेसलर्स को एकदम झटका जरूर लगा जब ये जिस तरह की खबरें चलाई गई कल मीडिया के द्वारा, जिस तरह का रोल प्ले किया गया, ये बहुत ही शर्मनाक था। गोदी मीडिया ने जिस तरह की चीजें की है यहाँ पे, निर्भया केस में जो रोल था मीडिया का वो बिल्कुल डिफरेंट था। अभी जो देखने को मिल रहा है वो बिल्कुल एक तरह से अपराधी के साथ मिले हुए काफी
तो अभी क्या रेसलर्स वापस प्रोटेस्ट करेंगे?
वापस प्रोटेस्ट करेंगे और प्रोटेस्ट की फॉर्म जो है वो कलेक्टिवली डिसाइड करेंगे कंसल्टेशन के साथ। और ब्रिज भूषण बीइंग द हेड ऑफ दिस इंस्टीट्यूशन, द ग्रेविटी ऑफ द क्राइम increases and it is aggravated form of crime on his part.
बहुत शुक्रिया कि आप हमसे जुड़ी. Thank you, the three gentlemen who joined us. We're going to keep a keen spotlight on the developments there. So even if the minor has taken back, retracted her statement, the Delhi police cannot close the Pocso case and ultimately should investigate, because they must file a case that has the retraction happened under duress. Will they do so? We leave it for our viewers to decide.